she is. We got this new project coming up, and it's a Lego display case, and I thought it looked really nice, you know, keeping with the Lego theme. They have box joints on the end, kind of the interlocking Lego deal. So this is the box joint I come up with. Normally you run runners in the tracks for on the table saw, but I didn't worry too much about that. I just used a couple pieces of plywood, and this span here is identical to the span between my tracks. So that way I didn't have to worry about jigs. This is set up for 1/4 inch box joint. It's permanent. There's no adjustment on it. I suppose I could add a face to it, but I went through a couple setups on this, and hopefully I got it right. I'm going to run a few here, and we'll see what happens. See if I get some, nice box joints. And I have to pay attention to how I actually place the pieces on there so I get them to fit correctly. So I'm going to do a little bit of playing around, see if I can get something right, and I'll show you the result. So as I was saying, this instead of making runners for the slots in my table saw, I'm going to measure between the two slots, get an exact measurement, and then I'm just going to take advantage of the plywood that's not quite as thick as the slots in my table saw. So once the two are paired together, I should have a nice runner without all the headache of actually making the runners. So here I think I got it all sized up, and I'm going to cut my first piece. Alright, once that's cut, I'm checking the size to make sure I got it right. Unfortunately, I guess you'll see here I got a little too short on this first cut, and I'm going to have to recut these later. This is the side pieces that'll come up to join the two, I guess the center stretcher in this assembly. So here I think I got it all together. And of course I'm missing something, so I got to go run and grab it. But here I got the two side pieces and the runner, and as you can see it's a little sloppy. I'm going to have to redo this. This ain't going to work. You're going to have too much slop in your box joint, and your box joints won't come out correctly. Yeah, go ahead, give it a try. Yeah, it's not gonna slide. Not gonna work. You're gonna have to recut it. There I go, setting it up to make a cut again. Hopefully this time we'll get it right on the money, and there'll be no worry. Here we go, another little test fit. We're gonna try this one out. And a much better fit on this. Well, go ahead, try to slide it this time. Oh, no slide. I'm real confident in this one. I'm just trimming the side pieces so they're all the same length. And the final assembly should be right here. This will sit nice and flush in the track, and ready to go. Here I'm just going to glue it together completely on the table saw. I want to put some tape down to protect it. I don't want to get glue on my saw. I'm going to throw a little tape down and then glue this assembly together and clamp it. Add a little glue. We're getting both sides glued up. We'll set it back down and make sure everything's tight, and we'll clamp it together. This time it should run together really well. Oh, what do you do with that? Hey, dummy, there's a rag right there. Yeah, there you go. Go ahead and use a rag. Putting in the sides. Or I guess the runners, I guess at this point we could call those the runners. I do reinforce these later with screws. I also add a couple layers of plywood to the back of this box joint. That way while the blades running through, my fingers are protected, and I'm not missing any digits when I'm done. Yep, it's down. It's down. You got it. Good job. And we're going to make sure. Okay, so what I'm doing here is setting up for a 1/4 inch. I got a couple setup blocks. Actually, a setup block, a 1/4 inch setup block. And I'm going to try to gauge the height here of the dado stack to this height block or setup block. I think I got it. I think it's right. Let's put everything away as usual. Take it off. Put on my new saw blades. You're gonna have to remove that riving knife. That will be in the way. So I got these blades on and double checked to make sure everything was okay, and it just wasn't right. It wasn't the right thickness. So I'm going to have to pull this dado stack out, and my fingers are in the way. So you see me double checking, and it's just not right. So here I'm adding a couple shims just to get it right out to that 1/4 inch. Reinstalling my dado stack. This time it should be correct. I gauged my slot for the box joint that you'll see go into this jig later to that setup block. So I need the blades to cut that exact size. You'll see later, I'll have to remove that riving knife. That doesn't stay on. Oh, I guess I'm going to run with it. I guess you don't have to push it all the way through, so the riving knife is going to stay in there, I guess. Now, if you want to do, double sure and make sure you're safe, I guess you should remove that. Don't watch this for instructional video. Just try to copy my template. This worked out pretty good in the end. Even though I didn't use it for the project, this box joint, I'm going to use it on some other projects, so it did work for me really well. So I'm making the initial cut. You can see I just have that face board clamped up there. I got to get that slot cut in there so I can affix this notch. I guess there's the notch. I'm gonna fix in this piece of hardwood. That's gonna set the groove for each box joint while you're running. I guess you'll see it here in a minute. I guess you'll have to trust me on that. You'll see it here in a minute. You want this to be a nice tight fit. That one I nailed it. Looks like I got the dado stack correct. You should have to hammer that in. You don't want it that sloppy. Any kind of slop you have in that, or anywhere actually in this jig, you're not going to have a tight box joint. So you want to make sure all the stuff is nice and tight. You'll see I'll have to persuade it here a little bit. Find a good spot. Find a good spot. Yeah, there you go. You brought the hammer over. Go ahead and use it. Go on there. Alright, so that's in. We cut off the other end. Now here I'm setting the face, and you can see I'm doing this wrong. I'm on the complete wrong side. The only thing I'm going to do here is, recut that same groove. So you want to be on the, I guess would be my right side of the blade when you're setting this up. And it should be the same distance as that scrap piece that I got there, which is a 1/4 inch. I guess I could have used my setup block to do this too. And in between that point sticking out. I'm not sure what I should call that. A lot of things come to mind, and I'm not sure I should use that any of those terms on YouTube here. So the I guess the pin, we'll call it for lack of a better word, that pin should be on the right hand side of the blade, and as you can see here, I am setting this up incorrectly. After a few trial and error, I finally get it right. My original intent was to, you can see the little adjustment block on the side. My original intent was just to make these faces interchangeable. I decided not to do that. I just dedicated this to a 1/4 inch. Okay, so now you can see where I'm cutting to the right of that block, to the pin, I'm sorry. And you can see I'm getting a nice, clean box joint here. Once I get run through here, it'll be able to see it. Kind of speed it up here a little bit. So here you go. Couple runs through, and remember to cut your final cut. And here's a joint. Nice tight fit. Come out good. A little sanding will take care of that. Thanks for watching.